Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis where I'll be covering the important news and editorial for the day that will be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin this session, just I'd like to tell you about the details of the topic that I'll be discussing. The first news, that is India's new proposal for the migrant voting. This is from the text and context page of the Hindu. Second, news marked false by the PIB, that is the Press Information Bureau, will be taken down and not be allowed to upload in any of the social media platform as well. Third, Supreme Court questions utility of advanced medical directives. Fourth, China's population fall in historic shift. Second last, that is the editorial, the soft touch principle. Today I'll be discussing two editorials. The first is from the Indian Express, another is from the Hindu. So the last editorial is a case for reassigning GST to the states. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. Starting the session, the first news, that is India's new proposal for migrant voting, something important for General Studies Paper 2, under the subtopic, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So in a recent event, the Election Commission of India was unable to demonstrate the prototype of the new remote electronic voting machine, which are basically, अगर बात करें इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया की, उन्होंने एनविसाज किया था कि एक डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन दी जाएगी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को और एक्सपर्ट को, ताकि जो रिमोट इलेक्ट्रॉनिक वोटिंग मशीन है उसकी एग्जीक्यूशन की जा सके. बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली द डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन कुड नॉट बी completed. This was basically to allow the migrant workers to vote in national and regional elections after the opposition party has raised concern about the logistic and administrative challenges in the voting. The opposition has earlier urged the poll body, that is the Election Commission of India, to first restore and trust the electoral system and systematically address fear of the misuse of existing EVMs. Working of existing EVM की अगर बात करें, electronic voting machines started being used in the larger scale in 1992. This was a time when the actual inceptions took place, and since 2002 that has been used in Lok Sabha and state assembly elections. There has been 3 iterations for the machines to improved features. अगर latest की बात करें, M3 मॉडल है जो कि इलेक्शन कमीशन ने यूज की थी 2013 onwards, and multiple political parties in 2010 has approached the Election Commission of India to come up with a mechanism that could verify the EVM. जो भी वोटिंग एक वोटर ने की उसकी कैसे वेरिफिकेशन हो सके, उसके कन्फर्मेशंस के लिए कुछ मेजर लाने की बात की गई. So in that context only, the Election Commission of India has developed basically जो VVPAT जिसे कहते हैं, Voter Verified Paper Trial Audit. This was developed by 2 public sector undertaking, and the machine used to give a trial to a paper, the voting process using the VVPAT, that has become universal in the elections since May 2017. Now, talking about the part of the EVM process, how does it actually work? This is a control unit where the entire information is stored. This is VVPAT machines for the receipt that is being printed. And this is the ballot unit upon which you have to press the key of your desired candidate, right? So this is the display button, this is battery part, result button at the flap, and a close button which is over there. Now, what is ballot unit? This is called ballot unit. So you can see the image over, this is the ballot unit. The current EVM setup has balloting unit which is connected with the VVPAT machines, both of which is inside the voting compartment. The VVPAT is connected to the control unit which sits with the presiding officers of the total number of the vote cast are displayed there. Now, the only ones, the PO address the ballot button on the CU, that is a control unit, the BU, that is a ballot unit, get enabled, and the voter can cast his or her vote corresponding, and the and basically the reference which was made by a candidate or in a voter would be taken to consideration. Now, concerned about the EVM machines, the civil society organizations, civil servants, and even the overseas Indian academicians, journalists, and former judges, and the public figure has raised the concern, and they have basically come up with a report that is known as Citizen Commissions of India. An analysis was conducted, and a record depositions for the national international feed expert were there with regards to the EVM and VVPAT system fit for the democratic elections. Now, the report highlights that the widely recognized democracy principle to adheres while conducting the election process. It stated that the election process should not be free and fair, and it should also be seen with free and fair process. The process itself should not be free, but it should be completely free in terms of the transparency that is promoted in the entire process, right? So ये बात की गई है that process should not be free. The impression should also be created by the to the voters that the entire process is in a transparent manner. The report point out that the details of the EVM design, prototype, software, hardware verifications are not publicly available for the technical and independent review, render it available only for the black box analysis where the information about its inner voting is not accessible. The problem with VVPAT machines की अगर बात करें, according to the expert and stakeholders, the voting process are verifiable, correct, and it should be a machine independent or a software or hardware independent, meaning that it has the variability and even not dependent solely on the assumptions on EVM is correct or not. So the process has to be such in a transparent manner that the trust should be there from the voters end. Now, the current VVPAT system is not only the voter verified in the full sense, meaning whether this voter sees the voter slip behind the VVPAT glass or even 7 seconds, it does not means that they have verified it. Under the current system, if the voter disrupt what they have seen behind the screen, they could allow to test the vote and press an election officers, and if outcome of the voter is correct, the voter can be penalized even for prosecution as well. So these are some of the penal provision with regards to any malfunctioning with regards to the conduct of elections. Additionally, the assurance must be given by the Election Commission of India that the EVM VVPAT machine does not connect to any external device and have been questioned by former civil servant and multiple studies. Institutional safeguard की अगर बात करें, the Election Commission of India has said that EVM are the system that are robust, secure, and tamper-proof, owing the technical and institutional safeguard in the place. And the Election Commission of India claimed that the safeguard of such seal and machines with the safeguard of having polling agents, first level check, randomizations of machines, and the series of mock poll before the actual voting. तो ये कुछ mock drills हैं जो कि Election Commission of India before conduction of actual elections करती है. Now, how the RVM will be different? So, how it is going to help? Election Commission के मुताबिक, its concept note that the multiple constituencies remote electronic voting machines for the migrant voting will have a same security and voting experience as EVM. This essentially means that the challenges mentioned above this regard of the current EVM will persist when it comes to the RVMs, right? And beside, the commission says that the remote electronic voting machines can handle multiple constituencies up to 72 in a single polling station. So this is the advantages of having the RVM. Now, the Election Commission of India has added a digital public unit to monitor the act interface between the constituencies card and readers, that is for the BU display. Moving to the other news. News that is marked false by the Press Information Bureau to be taken down. Important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic, that is the important aspect of governance, transparency, accountability, and e-governance. So recently, the Ministry of Electronic and Information Technology ने एक amendment, एक new draft release की है under the Information Technology Rule 2021, which says and come up with the regulation with regards to the online gaming platform. It has significantly changed the scope and proposal of the new visions. Now, as per the draft proposal, the ministry says that any piece of news that has been identified fake, जिसे PIB के fact checking unit ने उसे verified करके अगर fake बताया है, that particular news will not be allowed in any social media platform like Facebook, YouTube or Twitter. Now, PIB fact check units की अगर बात करें, this is the unit that was set up in 2019 to verify the news related to the government ministries and department with regard to the schemes, and this was to ensure that authentic information is delivered to the citizen of this country, and a routinely flag information about the government believes that fake or misleading informations has raised concern about any kind of piece of information that is delivered from the government notice board or the PIB. Regulations की अगर बात करें, according to the draft, it will be an obligations on the intermediaries as they cannot have a content which is marked false by the Press Information Bureau. उसके अलावा intermediaries को ये देखनी होगी, and even it will apply to the entity of the technology stacks holding the provider on internet service provider. The requirement has to be added under the due diligence requirement, and even to follow and enjoy the safe harbor which is legally immune from the third party content in the host. The intermediaries essentially allow the users to access services on internet, propose challenges, and even rules that are mean for the social media, internet service provider, web hosting providers who will be classified as intermediary currently and will have to follow the rule as specified by the government of India. तो ये सारी rules की applicability जो है ये सारे stakeholders पे होंगी ताकि authentic informations को deliver की जा सके. Now, the Supreme Court has questioned the utility of the Advanced Medical Directive, something important for General Studies Paper 2, under the subtopic that is issues related to development and management of health, and also important for the same paper in General Studies Paper 2, where executive and judiciary functions are concerned. A constitutional bench of the Supreme Court has questioned the utility of executing an advanced medical directive or living well भी जिसे कहते हैं in India, when a person is free to refuse invasive treatment and accept death. उसको लेकर के सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कुछ क्लैरिटी दी है, and even this is important for the mains examination. The bench, that is the 5-bench judge of the Supreme Court, has asked, basically it was hearing a plea to modify 2018 judgment where it has upheld that the passive euthanasia or the advance directive made by the process of implementing it is a cumbersome and it's a troublesome for other as well. The Supreme Court has said that the advance directive can be applied only to a narrow area where patients become so terminally ill that they are not able in the positions to get the treatment done, and they want the treatment to be stopped, and they are wistfully looking for the death. The 5-judge, this is a constitutional bench that is looking into the part, and they was seeking the modification with regards to the guideline of the Living Well Advanced Medical Directive issued in 2018. सुप्रीम कोर्ट की गाइडलाइन जो रिसेंट में आई है उसमें कुछ बातें कही गई है, कुछ डायरेक्शंस की बात की गई. द मेडिकल बोर्ड फर्स्ट विल हैव टू डिक्लेयर द पेशेंट दैट इट हैज नो स्कोप ऑफ रिकवरी फ्रॉम द ब्रेन डेड. So this point to be noted, this was basically on the point and consideration if a patient is going through a brain dead. The procedures then enumerate in the district collectors. This has to be informed to the district collector, and he will constitute an independent medical board to obtain a second opinion on the matter with reference to the judicial magistrate. Now, the apex court intended that it might have a time limit on the procedures involved and proactively delay if the defect whole purpose of writing or living will be there. The Supreme Court has observed that the failure to legally recognize an advance of medical directives might amount to non-facilitations of the right and smoothen the drying process. The dignity that process was also the part of the right under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, which is envisaged in the Constitution to an individual. The court has said that it focused on 3 aspects of the advance directive, that is the content, the method of which the directive should be there, and it can be recorded without the danger of tempering the implementations part. The court said whether it may do or only be stopgap until the legislation come up with a law. Moving to the other news, China's population fall in the historic shift, something important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic, that is the effect of policies and politics for developed and developing countries on India's interest and India's diaspora. According to the National Bureau of Static of China, China की जो demographic crisis है, that is deepened in 2022. Its population has declined for the first time since 1961 due to plunging birth. जो birth rate है वो काफ़ी हद तक decline हो रही है चाइना में. Amid the forecast, India is poised to overtake the communist giant world most populous country, that is China. चाइना पॉपुलेशन की बात करें 2022 में, द पॉपुलेशन वाज 1.4118 बिलियन विच वाज फेल्ड बाय 85,000. And according to the NBS, that is the bureau, China's registered was about 9.56 billion of the newborn last year, and this is down from 10.62 in 2021. The birth rate stood to be 6.77% per thousand people in 2022, down to 7.52. Right, and the death rate of the national wide is 7.37, putting the negativity to 0.67. Last time the China reported the population decline only in 1961, and the National Bureau of Statistics of China has announced that the time has come where this is witnessing when the economic growth is in the second lowest in the 5 decade. Now, अगर ग्राफ की अगर बात करें, China's birth that is falling below, you can see the countries and the color code that is mentioned. This is for Nigeria, this is for India, USA, UK, and China. Even you can take the screenshot of this particular image. This will help you to get a clarity on the part of the China's two-child policies. Now, one more image. This is India. India is projected to overtake China as the world's most populous country in 2023. So India will be having 1.53 billion total population, peaking up 1.7 by 64, and China at 0.77 billion. World population prospects की अगर बात करें, according to the recent report, the world population prospect by the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, the population division, India is projected to surpass China as the world's most populous country in 2023. And according to the report, India is projected to have a population of 1.668 billion in 2050, more than China's 1.317 billion by the middle of the century. Now, revised China child policy की अगर बात करें, China has declining population, which is asserted by the decade-old child policy scrapped in 2016, but rapidly aging population is there. As per the revised policies, China can now have a 3-child. So the declining population has resulted the government to even allow 3-child policy. China has conducted the nationwide population census every decade, with latest was done in 2020. And China has implemented the 3rd-child policy in May 2021 and roll out the series of measures to stimulate and boost the population growth. The soft touch principle. This is the first editorial from the Indian Express, right? And this is important for general studies paper 2, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So what are the issues that I'll be discussing under this editorial? Before that, the theme is online gaming industries, background, India की क्या शेयर है global industry, खास करके online gaming industries में, measures to government ने लिए हैं and the way forward. Recently, the Union Ministry for Electronic and IT has come up with a draft rule with regards to the online gaming for public consultations. और जो रूल फ्रेम की गई है, दैट इज टू अप्रोच द सेल्फ रेगुलेटरी बॉडी, जैसे SRO भी कहते हैं. दिस इज द सेल्फ रेगुलेटरी बॉडी दैट विल बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर गैदरिंग एंड अप्रूवल द गेम्स. और रूल्स ये स्पेसिफाई करेगी दैट नो योर कस्टमर, जो डिटेल्स है KYC जिसे कहते हैं, फॉर द वेरिफिकेशंस टू स्टिपुलेट अ ग्रीवांस रिड्रेसल मैकेनिज्म. The popularity of online gaming in India is on a rise, and the sector is crucial for India's leap forward and 1 trillion digital economy milestones. Now, moving ahead with India's share in the global online gaming industries, India's share for global online gaming industry is currently at 1%. In contrast, China has 25% of the share, and the United States with 23% of the share. That is about 3 billion users. According to the industry's estimate, 2020 में जो इंडिया की वर्थ थी ऑनलाइन गेमिंग में, that is $1.8 billion. With 38% of the compounded annual growth rate, the industry is expected to grow by 5 billion by 2025. Now, there are 400 million online gamings in India, and the numbers is expected to grow by 450 million by 2024. India advantages lie in the fact that 86% of the online gaming and the mobile gaming in this sector is growing at the fastest. And according to the Industries Board, IEMI, there are about 950 startup in the sector with 15 developers. Three of these startups have acquired a unicorn status as well. Measures that was taken by the government. The center has taken a prudent step by adopting a soft touch approach in the SRO rather than regulatory body under the government. The self-regulatory approach would help draw the investment so far and has been very subdued due to the variety of conflict in the legal position across. And the rule indicated that the government has two initial targets. जो पहली target है, that is to make India's company more players per sector, encouraging the innovations in the gaming sector, and second would be encouraging the growth of the online gaming industry so that the online gaming economy come to a scale and their accessibility should be increasing. Now, way forward की बात करें इस context में, that the government is taking a calculated risk in using the self-regulation approach for the online gaming sector, and the companies with IT and the social media intermediaries has been largely satisfactory in nature. The regulatory appraisal will have to target the menace of offshore gambling and even the illicit entities for the advertisement of their product in the social media should be also taken care. And the owners of the SRO will have to ensure that the ecosystem is working in the online gaming. Moving to the second editorial of the day, this is a case for reassigning the GST to the state, something important for General Studies Paper 3 under the subtopic Indian Economy and Issues Related to Planning, Mobilization, Resource Growth and Development. Now, what are the issues under this editorial? Before that, the theme is about the GST distribution between the center and the state, goods and services tax, measuring the imbalances, reassigning the tax power, and the conclusion part. In a federal structure of the country, the union government vested with more tax power than the state, while the state are assigned with more expenditure responsibility than the union government. This rise to the vertical physical imbalances between the union and the state government, and the main responsibility of the finance commission is to correct the tasks that remain unaccomplished. तो जो फाइनेंस कमीशन की जो रिकमेंडेशंस हैं उसमें भी कई बार स्टेक होल्डर्स ने या एक्सपर्ट ने कंसर्न रेज किया बिकॉज द गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट implementing that recommendation at the fullest. Now, the goods and services tax की बात करें, the union and state government concurrently levy the GST on the commodities, that is 50% of the center GST and 50% of the state GST. There's integrated GST as well for the interstate trade, so that 50% of it goes to the final state. And the GST is armored as the tax rate on the commodities across the country. Individual states have little power to unilaterally change the structure, and the conceptuality of the union government could also do so. The GST Council की बात करें, union government ने veto रखी है with regard to the preferences of the states. Measuring imbalances की अगर बात कीजिए, the simplest way that the empirical measures for the fiscal imbalances are there, which is known as WFI. WFI equal to minus. अगर WFI equal to minus means that the state have own revenues for their expenditure, but अगर जीरो नहीं है तो स्टेट्स को कुछ पैसे चाहिए जो कि फाइनेंशियल ट्रांसफर के थ्रू एड्स के थ्रू स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को देती है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. लुकिंग एट द डेटा, द पीरियड्स फॉर द लास्ट 3 फाइनेंस कमीशंस, द WFI ratio was increasing trend. That means that it was like 0.53%, which means the state, only 47% of the state have their own expenditure and rest state definitely want the fund from the central government. Now, in the first 4 challenges that took place, first is with regard to the divisible power of the union government expanding from 2 or other union state, that is enlarged with the universal base. Second is with regard to fiscal responsibility that was implemented to constrain the fiscal defects. The state directly borrow from the market subject to limitation imposed by the union government. Third is about the union planning commissions that were dissolved, leading to the withdrawal of plan grants, and the last is the GST that was introduced in 2017, and these changes were altered with the state with regards to the revenue structure. Now, reassigning of tax power की बात की गई है. The union and the state have exclusive power with regards to the excise duty, जहाँ पे petroleum products and state have exclusive power to levy sale tax on liquor. तो petroleum में central government के पास authority है, and even for the liquor and other product, this is for the state government. All the commodities fall under the GST. An expert also proposed that the GST and the excise levy on the petroleum product assigned to the state, so that the GST is assigned to the specific state concerned. Now, this should be convinced in the following way. One, we should bring all commodities, including petroleum product, under the GST so that the state could also have a share. And second, the union government could continue to collect the IGST only on the settled revenue on the destination basis. This will ensure the harmonization of the GST across the state. And the conclusion part in this editorial would be the financial transfer as states की अगर बात करें तो जो VFI है, this is vertical fiscal imbalances, this need to be there, and even GST has to be assigned to the state. The tax base of the GST, namely consumption, is equally distributed among the state. The unequal state base with the unequal expenditure requirement between the state create a horizontal imbalances among the state as well. So definitely it need to be there at zero. If it is increasing, the central government has to grow the state government expenses as well. Therefore, the union government should effect equalizations transfer or to address the issue in a horizontal fiscal inequality. So this is how you can conclude your editorial part. Now moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, also the correct option is C. Today's MCQ for practice. First is OSmart, recently seen in news, is related to aimed at regulating the use of ocean marine resources, sustainable development, strategic partnership with IEA to promote transparency in the jute sector, and liquidity risk monitoring tool for the stock market. Second is about the International Energy Agency. It is a World Energy Outlook report that is released by IEA annually, and India is not an associate member of IEA. So do check it out for the correct option. This type of question will definitely help you in terms of creating a concept based questions and also getting the right question corrected, and even practicing a lot more question will help you for the upcoming prelims examination as well. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.